The Saskatchewan Children's Advocate annual report has many more priorities included in its pages. Corey O'Soup joins me now to talk a little bit more about the report. Thank you so much for taking the time today, Corey.
Yes, thanks for having me on again.
Well, as Stephanie mentioned, there is a sizable discrepancy between Indigenous and non-Indigenous graduation rates. What do you think needs to be done to address that?
Well, I think it's part of our office's job to put ourselves in the situations where children and youth voice needs to be heard and where improvements need to be made. So it's part of the vision that we've laid out in our annual report, actually, where we want to insert ourselves and be a part of the solution. So I think a number of things need to be made. I think we need to really prioritize those graduation rates, because 43.2% for our Indigenous kids is way too low in my opinion.
Well, you talk about youth being heard. A part of that report is empowering youth to be what you call the best determinants of their success. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, one of the things that we talk about when it comes to education and children and youth having a voice, and one of the examples in our report here is about a class in Bert Fox Community High School in Fort Qu'Appelle. The kids that we're talking about there, the ones that we would consider at risk or maybe troubled, the kids that we might not think are going to graduate. An amazing teacher named Mrs. Coop has started a program for there, and those kids are the ones that are leading the way now in their community. They've been given voice, they've been given opportunity to lead. Now they're the role models in their community, they're running community program within their community. They're really amazing kids, and if we give more kids that same opportunity, I believe they can be change makers within their community.
What are you hearing from them about what they want to see in their education?
I think the number one thing that kids want in their education, and this is proven by research that we've done here in the province through our Ministry of Education and through other various researchers, the number one thing that our kids want is a relationship with their teacher. And that's the most important thing. And then everything else can extend from that. But the most important thing that they're asking for is that relationship with their teacher in their classroom.
Well, your report also talks about mental health and the lengthy wait times for psychiatric and psychological services. How do you think that should be addressed? Those are tragic wait times that our kids are having to go through. It's up to 2 years in some cases where our children are waiting to see child psychiatrists here. And I think there's a number of different ways we can do that. There's a partnership that was mentioned in the budget just a couple of weeks ago there called the Mental Health Capacity Building in Schools Initiative. It's something that was based in Alberta that we actually, as the Advocate's Office, went and visited and toured, and we brought that back here to advocate with our government. And I know they've mentioned that will provide better access and better supports in our school system where the kids are. It also creates a pathway for them to go out into the community to find the supports that they may not be easily able to find. I also want to talk to you a little bit about some of the data in your report. There was some numbers about sleep-associated risk factors in young children under the age of 1 leading to death. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, this has been a long-standing issue within our province, and it's also a long-standing issue across our country when children die through unsafe sleeping practices. It's something that we've noted before, and it's something that, has not really changed. And, I think we do a good job of educating, of letting people know, of letting parents know that, it's unsafe to sleep with your child because we have so many of those deaths. But unfortunately, we still continue to get those. So I think we need to do a little bit more, but it's hard to really do that when, your kid's tired and sleepy and whining and crying, and you lay them down beside you, and the next thing you know, you fall asleep. So I think we have to really try something different maybe in the future.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time today, Corey.
Of course, thank you, Christy.
Corey O'Soup is the Saskatchewan Advocate for Children and Youth.